Hey, small business people and lovers of good stories in general. Welcome to episode 27 of Small Business War Stories. Today I sat down with Brooke Worthington in Nashville, Tennessee. And Brooke is impressive because not only is she an artist, and she's very good, and she is a very creative mind designing her own jewelry, but she's also an entrepreneur who went from basically putting together designs with beads based on ideas that she saw on Facebook to having a full-on jewelry line and now recently a store in Nashville, Tennessee. And she tells the stories about how she ended up befriending or crafting relationships with suppliers of gemstones and jewelry in New York. And that was a big deal for her. And she talks about the Diamond District and what it was like to grow up in Nashville, Tennessee and start a business there. She is very, very cool and very impressive. And this episode was a part of the Soul of America tour. And the Soul of America tour is brought to you by Tecovas Boots. If you're tired of paying $700 for handcrafted boots, you can buy them for a lot less directly. They basically bypass dealers and sell directly to you. I wore my Tecovas boots every day of the Soul of America tour. Got lots of compliments. Very, very comfortable and very good looking boots. And again, that's Tecovas, Tecovas boots.com. And the episode is also brought to you by Impact Crates. Impact Crates are dog crates that are made out of aluminum, and they're very, very good. They're very heavy-duty crates. I use mine every day to transport my puppy Muddy Waggers. And you can, if you go to their website at Impact Crates, you can use code MUDDY20, MUDDY 20 for 20% off your made in the USA aluminum crate. And the Soul of America tour is also brought to you by Badger Mapping. Badger Mapping is an app for field salespeople that allows you to basically put in all the places where you have to go, and the app helps you map your route. So I use that to do the Soul of America tour because I put in all of the spots from Austin all the way up to Michigan and then back down. And it gave me the most efficient, best way to hit up all the spots I needed to hit. And like every episode of Small Business War Stories, this one is brought to you by Proven. Proven is a company I started with my business partner, Sean, and we are a small business hiring tool. And there are lots of different hiring tools out there, and we help you post your job directly to over 100 job boards and organize all your applicants. But we specifically are designed for small businesses. And we are not some kind of faceless software company. We will actually answer your phone calls and actually help you craft your job post and help you be successful. We want you to be successful. And we have thousands of small businesses that currently use us. We'd love for you to give us a shot. There's a free trial. Just show up to proven.com and check it out. Without further ado, I do want to get into the episode 27 with Brooke Worthington in Nashville, Tennessee. Small Business War Stories. Small businesses are the soul of America. And this is where they tell their stories. I am your host, Pablo Fuentes. And we are live here in Nashville, Tennessee. And I have the honor to sit down here today with Brooke Worthington of Brooke Worthington Jewelry. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'd love to learn a little bit more. So I've looked at your site, and you make some beautiful, beautiful jewelry. But I'd love to learn a little bit more about your business. What do you do, and what inspired you to do this? How did you get started?
I get asked that a lot, actually.
Yeah.
About 5 years ago, I was in my senior year at Belmont University.
Okay.
And I was in music business.
Okay.
And I needed a creative outlet.
Sure.
So one day I drove to Michael's and I got some terrible beads and started making bracelets.
Amazing.
So I made some for my mom and my sister, and then my friends wanted some, and I started selling them, and then one thing led to another.
Okay.
I had a trunk show at my parents' house, and actually a woman named Martha Niemer, who owned a store called the Cotton Mill, that was a huge staple here in Nashville for a very long time, was my first stockist.
Okay.
And it has evolved exponentially from there.
That is awesome. A stockist is a distributor, somebody who sells your product?
Yes, like my first retail store.
Okay, very cool. That must have felt so good, right?
It was cool because I was still in school, so my parents were still taking care of me, and I would have some fun money that I probably, looking back on it, should have reinvested, but
that's
I learned from that.
You're supposed to spend your money in stupid ways when you're in your 20s. I think most of us do.
Yeah.
Oh, or did. I'm not in my 20s anymore. Cool. So tell me, what was your first design? I mean, so what you're saying that, I mean, I like the fact that you said you didn't like it, because I think too many people sometimes spend too much time like not shipping, basically wanting to be perfect. So tell me more about what was your first design and how have you improved since then?
Goodness. Well, my first design was beaded, and I got some stretch material and just strung some beads onto stretch material and made bracelets. So that's like jewelry making 101. Okay. Anybody can do that. So eventually I found different resources for beads, like Beyond Michaels, the wholesalers out of New York City. And luckily at the time my best friend was in grad school at NYU, and I would stay with her and resource wholesalers when I would go visit her. So you go on
bead hunting trips.
Bead hunting trips, and then as my business has grown throughout the years, it's now I go to the Diamond District, and my sister lives in Manhattan, so I can stay with her and actually walk to the Diamond District.
I want to hear more about both bead hunting and Diamond Districting. So what is it? I've never done anything like this. What is it like to go hunt for beads? What was it like, and what did you look for? And
well, my first hunt, if you will, I made a list of possible wholesalers and their addresses, and I just sort of went down the list and X'd them off if they were bad and kept them if they were good. Beads to diamonds, beads to gemstones, and then all the other materials that are used in jewelry making. I learned different resources from that, but it was really just sort of like trial and error. A lot of walking.
What were your interactions with some of those people? I bet. I mean, if you're a wholesale beads dealer, that's an entire. We got to have some of those on Small Business War Stories. What are those people like?
Well, most of them are foreign. And I've actually have several that I worked with still today that when I first went on my first hunt. But nice people. It's just interesting. Resourcing has been my most valuable part of my business, I think, and my most secretive, actually.
So and you don't tell people where you get your stuff.
Those. I'm very generous with most of the information that I've learned.
Interesting.
But it's my resources most people that are in the jewelry industry would agree with that.
Okay, so
I had to learn for myself. So,
that makes sense. That makes sense.
I don't know. It's like the one part that I'm not as free to share.
And that's evolved. Originally, your resourcing was mostly bead wholesalers, but now it's the Diamond District.
Diamond District.
Tell me about the Diamond District. It sounds like this mythical place. Take me to the Diamond District.
Oh gosh, it's like. I mean, Manhattan, the energy in Manhattan is insane. Most people, when they walk through the Diamond District, it's like all storefront level, but they don't know is you get on the elevator and like the good stuff's up a few floors.
Right. Where is it? It's like in 50th or 60th Street or something like that?
Yeah, it's like Avenue of the Americas and like the low 40s, upper 30s. Yeah.
So, okay, and then you get in there and
it's crazy.
It's like a labyrinth.
Oh
right?
yeah, and like people are like, well, you want this, you want that. So you just kind of, and I'm from Nashville, I'm a very soft-spoken Southern girl. So for me, I've learned a lot about myself because I go by myself when I go up there, and I just kind of pound the pavement. But it was scary at first.
Did you ever get burned?
No.
Mm-mm. You got
not yet. No. I mean, people there's a like kind of a yucky element to the feeling of like sales are not my forte. It's more design. But the people that are trying to push a sale, and some of it isn't,
So a little bit more aggressive than what you used to here in Nashville.
I'm not used to that really.
Okay, but you've learned how to navigate it.
Absolutely. Tried. Yeah, so.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So tell me more about how your designs have evolved. What's your design process? How do you come up with what you think is going to be successful?
Well, That's kind of hard to say because I'll dream about jewelry sometimes.
Wow. Tell me more
I'll
about that.
have dreams about things that I've, it's usually like a combination of something I've seen and something I want.
Yeah.
And to go back to the way I started, that was kind of what I saw on Facebook. A girl that I knew went to Innsbruck and she had like an arm filled with these cool beaded bracelets.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find them. So I just made them. So that's kind of my design process. Is
Yeah.
if I think of something that I've never seen before, I just figure out how to make it.
That is awesome. So let's say, take me into your dreams. So let's say you dream about a piece of jewelry. Do you keep a notebook next to your bed and you sketch it? How does that work?
I like write myself notes in my phone sometimes of a concept, and then I have like tons of sketch pads everywhere.
Okay.
So it's not the most organized process.
Yeah.
But my store is very organized.
Yeah.
But my brain is not.
Okay.
So I try and keep one of those things.
Got it. How many SKUs do you currently have?
So when I opened the store,
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll touch on that
Sure.
eventually. I picked up a few other lines of jewelry to just diversify my cases. So I don't really know exact off the top of my head number
Just order of magnitude. How many are we talking about?
of my designs
yours,
or what
yeah.
I've
Your
got.
designs, yeah.
Like 50 to 70.
50. And how many total SKUs do you sell in the store? So what percentage is your stuff?
I'm not quite there yet. I opened in November, so I'm still sort of running tests on what moves.
Okay, very cool. So
but
that's cool. Okay, take me to that process. What is the process like of opening a store? So it's been around for 5 months.
Yes.
And what's that like?
Well, okay, so to back up again, when one of the biggest parts of the evolution of my business was when about 3 years into making beaded jewelry, I got really bored with beads. So there's actually there's a jewelry school here in Franklin, actually, which is about 15 minutes away from Nashville. And it's a school for jewelers, so bench jewelers, so your traditional jeweler, the guy that might size your ring or retip your prongs.
I took a lost wax class from somebody like that.
Yeah. So so the school was like super traditional. I signed up on a whim.
Yeah.
I actually called the director of the school to ask a question about a resource.
Okay.
Because within the industry, he was actually a man too, and he didn't have his own business, so I knew he might be a little bit more generous with what he knew.
Got it.
But I needed a tag for a necklace, and I called out there, and he was like, Brooke, have you ever thought about coming to the Long program, which is a 3-month intensive like boot camp for jewelers that come in from all over the country. They stay in Franklin. Luckily, I was only 15 minutes away, so I could drive in the mornings. Yeah. But I signed up for that.
Cool.
And completed that. We did platinum fabrication. Like, I know how to do it all, and I think that really helped my confidence in design and in being in jewelry business is knowing like the terminology. And even if I don't do every single thing from start to finish, I know what to look for. Yeah. And I know what is good and what is bad. And
what's your favorite jewelry fabrication technique?
I really like wax.
Yeah,
I love wax.
Yeah, wax is amazing. Right?
Yeah.
Because you basically start with this basically
the blob. It's like
the blob,
silly
and you
putty for
carve it into this amazing, beautiful design, and then you melt out.
Yep.
So I
don't do lost wax myself, but I have a resource for that.
A resource of lost wax. Sounds good. Yeah. I did the whole investment thing. You bake it, and then you have to wear a mask because the powder is so fine.
You should.
Yeah. Oh wow.
I do most times, but yeah. So I went to the jewelry school, and then when I graduated, that was 2 years ago. Yeah. I graduated from that program, and a lot of the people that were in the class with me, there were about 12 people. Yeah. One woman that is a dear friend of mine now is from California, and she, dropped her life and came in and took this course with me and a few others. There were mostly men, actually, which was very surprising, that worked in the back of like your Zales or like your local jewelry store. And so people were like, okay, what's next for you now? And I was like, well, I'm just going to, focus on growing my brand, growing my line.
And at that point, you were selling mostly online or through stockists?
Both. I had a website, and I had a few local, and then like a store in Atlanta that carried my stuff, and kind of close to Nashville.
Okay.
But I said I'll never have a store. Ever. Never.
Okay.
And last spring, actually, I sort of on a whim started thinking because for me to have everything in one place was very confusing. But before I had the store, I had a studio in Germantown for a long time, and I was always in my car. I was always taking things to stores. I was always going to UPS. I was always, just all over the place. And for me now to be in Green Hills, which is like 2 seconds from where I live, I have a studio in the back. It's centrally located. The traffic is insane because Green Hills is arguably like the busiest shopping area of Nashville.
Okay. So it's been a good decision.
Yeah.
But it's made your life somewhat hectic.
It's all sort of a mixture of hectic and organized.
Okay, tell me more about that.
So my store is very pretty. You walk in, it's very minimalistic and clean, and then there's a little studio on the back, and I try to keep it organized. Yeah. But like I was saying, the creative process is not an organized thing. Yeah. So I try to keep it as organized as possible, but that's where the mixture kind of
But it must feel good to have...
It's all in one place,
They all in one place, and I mean, you can keep them separated.
And I can shut the door.
Yeah, and you can
if I get into wax one day and I want to...
Yeah.
Yeah, the chaos
Yeah,
is
you can let customers, see the shine, but they don't have to feel the fire.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. So how do you decide what types of, because you focus on a very specific aesthetic, right? So you have different types of earrings and you have necklaces, but you don't make things like engagement rings, right?
Well, I'm starting to.
Oh, okay.
So that's something that I'm actually going to take. There's a GIA certification program you can take.
Yeah, for GIA is Gemological
Yes,
Institute
but for diamond certification.
Sure.
So just because I think that it's very important to know exactly what you're talking about. So a lot of the stuff that I have in my store, I sell diamonds, but they're called milli, which is pave, like they're little bitty diamonds. Yeah. So to sell a bigger engagement ring diamond, I think that I would love to know more about that.
So I can sense this really strong desire to grow and learn, right? That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what?
And I've kind of just gone at my own weird pace. I don't.
Well, it sounds like it's working for you, and that sounds really cool.
So far, so good. Knock on wood.
That is awesome. That's awesome. What do you? How do you think about the whole? You're talking about stockists earlier, and you're talking about selling online. Mm-hmm. What's your take on selling online versus selling through your store? And does that create a conflict ever with people that you distribute through and so forth?
Online I'm still figuring out online because to me, I always try and think of myself as a consumer to myself, if that makes sense.
That makes total sense.
So for me, if I was going to look online, I probably would want to see something in person before I spent more than $100 on it, especially if it's jewelry, because that is more of a personal investment.
And the feel matters,
yes,
right?
You need to feel it, see it, touch it. Yeah. So online, I'm still sort of figuring that out. But for me now, having a store and then also maintaining my stockists, the stores that carried my stuff that's why I am where I am, because my relationships with those people I really fostered and became close with, and that's who's selling your stuff. So I'd really try and maintain those relationships and keep them fully stocked. And I went from consigning to doing wholesale when I opened my store. Just my accountant wanted to kill me, my bookkeeper wanted to kill me. I just needed for inventory control.
Kills you for working capital.
Right, and now I have a store, so why would I consign something if I have it in my own brick and mortar? So that has been an interesting transition, but I think I've done it pretty well so far.
Awesome. It sounds like it. That's awesome.
Tried.
So how many stocks do you currently have?
Let's see, six or seven. So it's nothing big. And one of the reasons that I opened a store was because I saw that I could either go into more stores and lose a little bit of the creative freedom and have to keep up with like a collection, or I can pause on the stockist retailers and open my own store and offer other things in my store and just kind of go wild with my creative freedom. And that's what I've done so far.
That is awesome. So I'm really interested in learning more about how you forge some of these relationships with the stockists, because this is not something that it's exclusive to the jewelry business, right? A lot of people that start making things that have to start new relationships with people. And you mentioned how important those people had been to your early success that has now led you to have the ability to have your own shop and all that. How did you go about doing that? Did you have any tips, any thoughts, ideas about how to do that successfully?
Well, I'm pretty spoiled because I'm from Nashville, born and raised. I did a stint in Alabama, then I transferred back to Belmont. So I've been here pretty much my whole life. I've lived pretty much within a 10-mile radius my entire life. So for me, I'm very connected. Like I grew up here. So a lot of my first customers were friends of my parents, friends of my family member, friends of mine, and teachers and babysitters. And so I got connected that way. And the retailers that took a chance on me knew my family. So I had that one up, really. But Nashville is like a very encouraging environment for business owners. So I think that helped a lot. Yeah.
And it sounds like you've been able to build your confidence by having, win on top of a win. Yeah. Now, having run a small business for 7 or 8 years now, I know that things don't always go right. So you've had some great wins. Can you tell me about a time when things maybe went wrong and what happened? How did you deal with it?
Well, what I'm learning now in this chapter of my business is Christmas was really great. So I opened the store in November 10th to be exact, which is like I caught the holiday wave, which was phenomenal and did great things for my confidence. March was a little slow. So what's fun about it is I have to figure out new ways to, drive sales or do things to
or manage sort of cash flow and design cycles.
So now I have a lot of inventory. But I've been doing an event in May. There's Mother's Day. I'm partnering with a local esthetician to do like summer skin and sparkles. So we're gonna sell jewelry, and do some giveaways, some photo facials, and just little things like that just get creative and figure out how to make this month meet what I want, what my goal is in sales. So
tell me more about the inventory piece. So I think a lot of small business owners struggle with that, because inventory is essentially cash on the shelf, right? And that's something that the whole idea of working capital and what it means to have cash that's not being currently utilized in the business is something that took me a while to learn. I think takes a lot of people like some hard hits to learn. How do you think about that, and what have you learned? How have you learned to do it better?
Well, I am currently the only employee of my store, so I see everything. I know exactly who bought what, and I've got a pretty good memory, and so I know what's moving. I know who's typically buying it, what the demographic is. So in terms of reinvestment and inventory, I'm pretty on top of it, and that's been one of the beautiful things of being there all the time.
That's awesome.
And actually a friend of mine who owns a store in Nashville called Magpies told me it was very important for me to be there a lot. So I took her advice, and I haven't hired anybody quite yet, but I think it's really important to be there and know what's going on and see what's moving.
Right.
So
that's
for inventory.
Cool. That's very cool.
Yeah.
What would you say? So a lot of folks that listen to our program are either currently operating small businesses or are thinking about starting a small business. What would you say is your number one piece of advice or kind of like nugget that you've picked up along the way that you want to share?
I have an amazing bookkeeper / accountant who knows every password to every account, to every financial anything. And she is like my bet, like she is probably number one asset. And I met her, and she completely reworked the way that I saw how my entire business worked. And I think that having someone that numbers aren't my thing, creative brain, don't really, I've learned a lot, but having somebody that can take over that part for me has been very beneficial.
Awesome. So surround yourself with advisors and people that can complement your weaknesses.
Or if you don't know how to do something as well as you think you should, the internet's amazing. You can find someone that can help you.
I've heard of the internet.
That's
awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It's another resource.
Where do you want to go in the next 10 years? It seems like you've been on a whirlwind, journey that's been, you continue to evolve, you continue to learn. How do you see yourself continuing to do that? What's next? I mean, I shouldn't say what's next because you're in the middle of like just opening a store. But where do you see the next 10 years? What's your vision?
Well, I definitely want to get into more engagement in bridal.
Okay. So
and learn more as much as I possibly can about diamonds.
Okay.
And how, definitely have them ethically sourced and learn how all that works, and just go more engagement bridal and custom.
Okay.
Because I've done a lot of custom stuff, but I think reworking with people's stones or a diamond that was your mom's and you want to put it into something new and modernize old stuff. Because I like that jewelry has meaning, and if it's got something from the past that you can make a future heirloom with or something.
I love that. Yep. That's awesome. So you're getting more into making those pieces.
I'd like to.
Okay.
More.
Okay.
I probably need to hire somebody first before I really delve into that, but that's the next step. Probably.
So basically digging deeper into the artistic, creative side of it. That is awesome. Okay, is there anything else that you want our audience to know about your business? Where can people find you? Do you use, before we get into that, do you use a lot of social media to promote your business?
Yes.
How do you find most of your customers?
Social media is insanely helpful because it's free.
Yeah.
And I use Instagram, and then Instagram stories have been pretty helpful in driving.
Well, how do you use those?
Just it's hard not to over inundate people with when you've got a product that you want to sell, but it's also very important to show what you've got, because a lot of times people see something on the Instagram, they'll come in and ask about it, or they'll call or they'll email and ask about it.
Right.
But I use Instagram a lot, not so much Facebook anymore, but Instagram. And then
do you do all your own stuff on Instagram?
Yes.
Okay, so you spend a lot of time.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I connected with several stylists locally, because we're in Nashville, so we've got Music City, country music.
Sure.
And I've connected with a few of those stylists and had some good press with some country music starlets. So that's helped a lot to get.
So I'm going to be seeing your pieces on the CMA soon.
I've already been on the CMA.
You've already been on the CMA. I am way behind the times. Tell me about the time when your designs were featured in the Country Music Awards.
Oh gosh, there's so many. Country music, they have so many award shows that it's kind of hard to keep up with. Yeah. But Maren Morris has worn my stuff a bunch.
Okay.
Like Martina McBride.
Very cool.
But it's a few others. I'm blanking. I think Little Big Town, Karen.
That is awesome. Yeah. That is awesome.
But the stylist, it's nice now to have a place that they can come pull. So literally 2 days before the ACMs, Maren's stylist came in. Per usual, I love her. She's awesome. Comes in. What can we put on? Here's the dress. What can we put on her? And so I'm like, here, just take all of this and sign this deal. Don't break anything. Break it, but and then kind of wait and see what she ended up wearing. So that's been really fun. It's really organic. Yeah. There's really not like a structured way that I've done anything, but it's been successful.
Yeah, it sounds like you're following something that you're really passionate about, and kind of building belief, win by win, and that's been awesome. Yeah. Cool.
It's been fun.
Where can people find you? If people want to buy your stuff, where can they? What are your handles on social media? What's your website?
My website is brookeworthingtonjewelry.com, Brooke with an E, and I'm actually about to facelift on that. So to have.
Well, this is airing, I think, September. So
so by then that's
you'll be all strong.
Yes, and my Instagram handle is Brooke Worthington Jewelry.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me today and sharing your inspiring story. Congratulations, and best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Small Business War Stories. If you enjoy the show, share it with a friend, or you can subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, or on our blog at blog.proven.com. If you have an idea for us, we'd love to hear it. Please email us at podcast@proven.com. See you next time. Small Business War Stories. Small businesses are the soul of America. And this is where they tell their stories. I am your host, Pablo Fuentes.